Hi everyone, in this video we are doing the Sir Isaac Newton book tag. If you're new here, my name is Smitty and this is my channel Booksmitten. Now I was tagged by Stuart Griffin and the original tag was created by Reading Ideas. And I highly recommend checking out their full video dedicated to this tag because not only do you get the tag prompts, but you also get to learn a bit more about Sir Isaac Newton as a person and his history. Now, I personally didn't know as much about Sir Isaac Newton before going into this tag, so I appreciated getting this mini history lesson. So without further ado, let's just get into it. Now with this tag, for each prompt, there are sometimes multiple options, and I'm just going to share the option that I chose to answer. So if you're curious about the other options, you can check out Reading Ideas' original video. The first prompt is a book with a character that has been sent away. Now, in thinking about Sir Isaac Newton's backstory, which you should definitely check out Reading Ideas' video for that, the book that came to mind for me here was Nothing to See Here by Kevin Wilson. Now, there are a host of characters in this book, and there are actually two kids that can set themselves on fire, and they are kids from the first marriage of this politician. Now, this politician's second wife enlists her best friend from high school to come and be a nanny for these kids after their mother has died. So there are definitely themes of found family, but originally these kids were sent away along with their mother. Now the second prompt is a book where time is a crucial element. Here I'm thinking of Pure Nessie by Susanna Clark. Now I don't want to give away too much about this book because I think it's best enjoyed when you don't know too much about it. However, part of the book is a series of journal entries, and from the first pages, you can see that time is described in an interesting way. So therefore, I think it fits the theme of this prompt. Next up is a book where the character has to pass a test of strength. The first book that came to mind for this one was Healer of the Water Monster by Brian Young. The main protagonist here is a young Navajo boy named Nathan who must pass a series of tests in order to help a water monster that he promised to help. These tests challenge him mentally and physically, and there are other characters and people in his life that are going through their own tests of strength, so I think it really exemplifies the theme of this prompt. Next up is a book where a character has a dark side or a temper. For this one, let's go with The 13th Tale by Diane Setterfield. Now this is a gothic novel, so there are multiple characters who have dark sides, some of whom have tempers as well. So I think this whole book has a host of characters that fit this theme. And it is a very haunting book, so those characters and those characterizations stick with you long after you've read this book. Next up is a book where the quest is deemed so big that the character either chooses to have no personal life or it is destroyed. Now this was a tricky one for me, and there are actually several prompts in this tag that were quite challenging. But I came up with The Uncommon Reader by Alan Bennett. Now, this is a work of speculative fiction which follows Queen Elizabeth II as she turns into a voracious reader. Now, her quest is to become a reader, and she becomes quite absorbed in books to the detriment of her personal life because she would rather be reading, which I know a lot of us can relate to. And as we see in this book, that is quite hard if you are the queen. And she kind of frustrates a lot of people in her personal and professional life in her reading adventures. Next up is a book where the main character makes a questionable decision. The first book that popped into my mind for this one was Florida Woman by Deb Rogers. Now this follows the main protagonist who's out on community service after having been sentenced for a crime. And that crime is the questionable decision, but I don't want to give it away as it unfolds in the book. Next up is a book with an object or place that goes through a scale change. Again, this was the challenging one for me, and I finally landed on Howl's Moving Castle. And while I don't think the main protagonist, Sophie, is an object, so let's say she's a human, and her scale changes age. So she gets cursed and she ages into this old woman and she wants to return back to her youthful form. And the novel follows Sophie's journey in getting to be de-aged again. Next up is a book where someone or something is falling. So basically gravity plays a huge part. For this one, I'm gonna say Calypso's Guest by Andrew Sean Greer. And this is a reimagining of Calypso. That's part of Greek mythology. And in this version, it's science fiction. So one of the characters literally falls onto a planet because their spaceship has crashed into it. So yeah, gravity. Next up is a book with a red herring or a false trail. For me, I'm gonna say The Plotters by Eun-Soo Kim. And I'm mainly saying that because it felt like two books in one. The first part of the book felt like a character study and you're trying to figure out something that's going on. And the second part you do, but it's not what you would think after reading the first part. So this book really encapsulates the theme of a false trail for me. Next up is a book with an element of revenge or punishment. Now this is hard for me because the genres that I associate with this prompt I usually don't read. So actually I'm going to put out there The Time I Got Drunk and Needed a Love Potion at a Werewolf. And yeah, this is a spicy romance novel. However, there's a group of people in this spicy romance novels world that feels wronged and it's exacting punishment on people. And when you find out who they are, it is both hilarious and very relevant to many things that certain groups of people might have to deal with from day to day. So I don't want to give it away, but yeah, that there's an element of the desire for revenge and punishment in that book. Next up is a book with a rise in status followed by a catastrophic fall. Now this one was also a challenging prompt, but I came up with The Murder of John Ackroyd by Agatha Christie. Now status is a prominent theme in this book, and you just have to read the book to see why it fits the theme. And if you read the book, you probably understand why I selected it. Next up is a book where a character is a genius. Now, my selection for this prompt is What You Are Looking For Is in the Library by Michiko Ayano. Now, if you read this book, you might be questioning, okay, like the genius here. And I actually think that the librarian is the genius, because she is a social genius. She can really read people and understand where they are in a moment and what they might need. And I think that's a really hard skill and social genius too. So now it's time to tag others. And as I mentioned, I found some of the prompts to be quite thought-provoking and challenging, and I would love to hear the answers to this tag from Raspberry Read, A Mild Rumpus, and Pridsy Books. I also would love to hear from you, whether in the comments or in your own video, if you would like to answer some or all of the prompts. So that is all for this video. Thank you again to Stuart for tagging me and reading ideas for creating this tag. And if you're enjoying my tag videos and want to watch another one, check out this video over here. That's all for this video, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.